following program is a special presentation of the Big Ten Network, produced in association with Michigan State University.
I'm Jim Peck. Welcome to MSU Today. Here's what's coming.
Living with tigers. A home of her own. A Spartan saga behind bars. Driving and going green.
How do tigers and people live side by side? We headed to Nepal to look at how this age-old relationship affects our world.
Right now we're in Nepal, and we're in the south of Nepal. It's in a place called the Terai, which is the lowlands, which is all the way at the base of the Himalayas. And I'm here because in the Terai is one of the largest populations of the endangered Bengal tiger. And I'm here to research the Bengal tiger in order to advance some conservation efforts.
A trip to this part of the globe begins with a stop in Kathmandu, a place teeming with life and the exhaust of life. It's packed with cars and motorcycles, trucks and noise, and people. But just a few hours away is another Nepal, and it's not the mountains you might be expecting. It's the lowlands at the base of the Himalayas. Rich, fertile country where a basic way of life is still the way of life. A place where getting around on elephants isn't so rare, even if it is a bit bumpy. It's here in Chitwan National Park, down near the border with India, that we head out with Neil Carter, who's doing his research.
I'm here to study the way that tigers and people interact, because tigers are a globally endangered species, and they're endangered because of human activities. Human encroachment, because people are cutting down forests in order to build agricultural land or develop land. People poach their prey species so they don't have any food. And also people poach tigers for various things, for medicines and for their bones and for skins. So in order to basically conserve tigers, you ultimately need to understand human behaviors. And you need to find out ways to modify them in order to foster those conditions of coexistence between humans and tigers.
The reality is people live here, tigers live here. They each do different things as they live their lives, and their lives bump up against each other. It's one of the big things Neil is looking at.
People are moving into the area. The population is increasing. They're building new households, building new houses. And in order to build those houses, they're having to come into the forest and they're having to get more wood and get more grass in order to feed their cows. And as they do that, tigers are altering their behavior. And tigers are beginning to potentially get into more conflict with people as they're having to move out of the way of all the people that are coming in to collect certain things. So it's sort of an interesting interrelationships between the two systems. And so we're trying to look at where those systems are linking and then ultimately trying to find a way to reduce habitat degradation, reduce tiger-human conflict.
Walking through the forest with Neil, it's not hard to imagine tigers.
Well, we're looking at the pug mark of a tiger, and we're measuring the width from edge to edge. That's probably the left hind foot of a female tigress. So that's kind of exciting. We'll set a trap here and maybe catch a tiger.
One of the best tools he has is the camera. He and his team of local field techs set out remote cameras to record the comings and goings of tigers.
Well, right now we're going to get together with the field technicians and we're going to go over some of the logistics of how we're going to set the camera traps. We're going to retrain them on how to use the camera traps and just kind of talk about how we're going to go about setting them this year. We also have 2 new cameras and they're same model, but I think they're much better. These are special field cameras and they have an infrared sensor on them and it's a trigger, and you can set them up outside 24 hours a day and they're on the whole time, and if anything moves in front of that passive infrared sensor, it triggers the camera to take photos. So if I were a tiger walking through, I have a camera right here about chest height, but it's angled downward, and then we have another camera over here a little bit further back to the right, taking photos of both sides of an animal as it walks by. You need 2 to make a trap, a camera trap, especially for tigers. You get a picture of both sides of the animal, and that's because the tiger's stripes are unique identification marks. So if you only get one side and then the tiger turns around and comes the other way, you might think it's two different tigers. But once you know what the stripe patterns are on either side, then no matter what picture or what side you get, you always know that it's that tiger.
And this being a very wild place with very wild and assorted animals, you get a lot of stuff on camera.
Oh, we get all kinds of stuff. We get all the wildlife here. We get civets, we get wild boar, we get all the deer, we get people. My favorite are the sloth bears, only because they're the most curious. And I've got a bunch of pictures of them walking up to the camera and looking at it and then getting a little bit miffed that they're there and then just beating on the camera. And so there was a number of times we've come out and the camera looks like it's been moved and it's got dirt all over it, and I'm thinking, oh, somebody was messing with it and they were trying to take it or something. And then we look at the photos and you can see that a sloth bear came up to it and sniffed it and hit it, kind of batted it with its paw, and that's pretty fun. So this cable is locking to the tree.
These cameras are critical. Using GPS coordinates and images, they record the time and place of the tigers and even the time and place of the people and other animals moving around here.
You have two things happening. You have people doing things and you have tigers doing things. And in order to understand the conflict, you need to understand where the people and the tigers are going, when they're going there, and why they're going there. And if we can understand that better, we can find out ways to reduce the conflict zones or the behaviors in which people and tigers will come into conflict.
The clawing. This is also kind of a territory mark. They do lots of different things.
And let's not forget, tigers are tigers. They are part of this place and have been for as long as anyone can remember, and actually even longer. And sometimes they attack and even kill people and livestock.
They do that from time to time, and in fact here they're doing that more times than they used to do it in the past, and it's becoming quite a concern, and it's one of the issues that I'm trying to address in the research.
One of the places where the lives of people and tigers overlap is the buffer zone. It's a strip of forest that forms a rough, natural boundary between the preserve in Chitwan and the villages outside. An edge of basic villages with kids and animals, human life in this part of the world.
Here we have village and buffer zone.
Right, and the buffer zone is a forest, but it's a little bit different than the national park forest. It's really designed to do two major things. It's to supply resources, forest resources, for local people who use the grass for their roofs or for fodder or wood to build their houses, but also it's to be a long-term area habitat for different wildlife. And so they're really trying to do two tasks to try to protect wildlife, but also have a source of resources for people. But you have them living right next to each other.
So I know you've put up cameras in this area you talked about. You've got the people living right here. So when we talk about tiger-human interaction, this is one of sort of the epicenters,
This
right?
is exactly what it is about, tiger-human interaction. So people are coming in throughout the day to collect various resources, but we also know that there are quite a few tigers, mothers or females with offspring, and tigers are right there, and we actually have them at the same place, just separated by several hours. So that's quite interesting.
And I mean, we see there's sort of double fences and stuff, but you said not going to stop a tiger.
Not going to stop a tiger. Tiger can easily jump over that. Not to mention that there are several entry and exit points, and tigers will, roam this area and they'll find each and every one of those entry and exit points. So often they get into conflict because they come out to find something and will take a goat or a buffalo.
People here scared of tigers, aware of tigers, honor tigers?
They are wary of tigers. I wouldn't so much say scared. It's something they've lived with for a long time. It's something they've understood ever since they were born, ever since they've been here. So it's something that they are aware of, but it's not something they necessarily fear. The fear doesn't control their behavior. They still come in and they still get the things that they need.
This kind of a typical village for what you see around this part of Nepal?
Sure. Yeah, this is definitely a pretty typical village. You have various types of households. You have people who need various things for their children and for their livestock.
Living off the land or not?
They are living off the land, but as far as I can tell, it seems like they're living less off the land. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's hard to tell at this point.
Hard to tell, because less living off the land could mean less carving into tiger habitat, which is good. But it could also mean less depending on the land, which could mean less use for wild areas and less of an urgency to save these areas. The best bet for the tigers and for this environment seems to be in the balance between the human and natural world.
This is about developing a sustainable system in which people can meet their demands, they can get the resources that they need, but also being able to protect biodiversity and protect these important wildlife species that people are interested in.
So that life here, life with tigers, is actual life, not the past, not just paintings and memories, not lost. This presentation has been brought to you by Michigan State University, America's premier land-grant institution. 150 years of advancing knowledge, transforming lives.
They've been called leaders, lifesavers, and world changers. They're also called Spartans.
A home of your own is part of the American dream, a dream that's becoming a reality for some thanks to the hard work of others.
That's not the sound you expect to hear in a parking lot.
We are starting to build my home.
A home? In a parking lot?
Together with Habitat for Humanity, Whirlpool, and Michigan State University.
The students here at Michigan State University and faculty, along with Whirlpool Corporation and the state of Michigan, are building a Habitat home here on campus to be dedicated to a wonderful young lady with 3 children who happens to be a graduate student here at the university.
I mean, it's a bit overwhelming actually, but yes, very excited to see the beginnings of my new home. Yeah, I know, it's a bit unreal at the moment.
Okay, so it's not the first remotely built house, but there is something unique about this build.
As far as we know, this is the absolute first partnership build that we have done with the university.
I think it's a great statement about Whirlpool, but it's a great statement about Michigan State. I mean, the fact that you've got students here who are willing to give back.
It's nice to see that you did something for the community and you made something count.
It was really cool to see someone you didn't recognize, you ask them where they're from. They're like, oh, I'm a psychology major, I'm a biology major.
Charlie Brenneman's one of my crew leaders today. Let's get 5 of you with him.
With crews in place,
we are going to try to build whole walls, raise up whole walls.
And just a few instructions, it wasn't long before this parking lot was transformed into a construction zone.
A lot of us at Habitat Lansing are MSU grads, including myself, and so, we're just so thrilled that we're on campus and we're building on campus, and that the students are helping us.
Over the next few weeks, construction was completed and Anna's house was transported to its permanent location where its foundation lay in wait.
The reason that we get into our industry is to see the completion of a project and see the look on her face when she finally moves in. That's the special job.
They make one of these so that you're entering your house with a little extra love and warmth. Oh, that's nice.
This is a gratifying moment. It's a gratifying ceremony to be here and to be able to turn a successful homeowner loose on their own house and be the vehicle for home ownership.
Thank you, Max. That's great.
When you partner with Habitat for Humanity, you're not just building houses, but you're creating homes that ultimately help change neighborhoods and help change society for the better.
And for Anna, it was an opportunity to provide her daughters a new start. A start of hope.
I did it because of them, basically. If I was being on my own, it probably wouldn't have been so important. But having 3 children, they've got their future, their lives ahead of them. It was important to sort of have our own space.
We know that now that Anna has a simple, decent place to call home and her children have a quiet place to study, a place that they can be together as a family, that their future may be very different than it might have been had they not had a home like this.
In our Spartan saga, you're going to meet a woman who's taking drama behind bars in a whole new way. Meet Sarah Tomek.
I started out as a theater major at Michigan State through a couple of programs, the prison outreach program in the theater department. My career path has moved towards drama therapy, and I'll be going for my master's in drama therapy soon. When I tell people, they're they're shocked that just a girl like me could just go into prison and work with and it's all male prisoners too that I work with. We have to be careful about what we say and what we choose to do with the inmates, but you build a comfort level with them over time, and by the end you get to give them a handshake, but I wanted to congratulate them and really give them my thanks, give them a hug goodbye, but you have to be really professional and constrain your emotions, because theater is, you let go. You have the stereotypical version of a prisoner in your head, like any bad guy from a movie, and maybe some of them look like that, but they don't necessarily act like it, and some of them look like your uncle or your grandpa or your neighbor, just anyone. It's kind of a weird situation because we work with them, we're doing all this great work that really digs deep in some cases, but we don't see so much of their lives behind bars. We get to leave at the end of the 2-hour lesson and they don't. I'd done a lot with theater. I'd acted and stage managed, and I didn't know what I really loved. I wanted to try theater education as well, and I came to Michigan State. I knew that I could explore that, and I came up with something that's even bigger than the program that I worked on here is drama therapy, and that's really what I love, and I found it here. Sometimes it is a slow process, sometimes it's a frustrating process. You may think that, gosh, it's never gonna happen, but I think that happens in all theater. You get down to the wire and you're like, it's not gonna work out, but it always ends up clicking at the very end and you come up with something fantastic in performance. They are proud of their work, especially the one guy that I worked with. We did a scene from Macbeth, and and I got to play Lady Macbeth, which is a great role. I would love to play the whole part someday. But the guy that I was working with doing Macbeth had some really great moments. He understood what was going on, the stakes behind what he was saying, the motivations of the character's psychological states, and it was huge. It was a great accomplishment for someone who went from not acting at all to performing one of Shakespeare's greatest roles. You put in the hard work and dedication and put something positive into the world and you will change it. One person at a time, one group of people at a time, I'm doing something good, and that's what I take the most joy in. The humanities directly touches lives and just makes me so happy and excited about what I do every day. And being at State and getting to do that, I found it here. I found that theater can connect people to each other, and I think that's how I change the world. Theater has done good in my own life, and it'll do good in the lives of many others, and I'm glad if I can play a small role in that. For me personally, it's Spartans will create. I think that's what I value most in myself and in others, is the creative mind and bringing something into the world that wasn't there before.
This presentation has been brought to you by Michigan State University, America's premier land-grant institution. 150 years of advancing knowledge, transforming lives.
Going easy on the environment when you need to get from point A to point B can be a challenge. Now there's a new way to get around town and around campus, and you don't have to ride a bike, ride the bus, or even have your own car.
We are thrilled to be in East Lansing, launching with 6 cars today.
We just got our second shipment of Zipcars in.
We got the three Priuses are out there. Mary unloaded those herself on just the other day.
These are 3 Ford Escapes we've got in.
Cool, and now we're getting the other 3, so
okay,
there's our first 6.
Zipcar is a rent by the hour car share program.
Every Zipcar has a name. So as you see right here, The Zipcar is named, so every member will reserve a car by name.
So what we wanted on campus was something to add to the suite of options that we've already got. So not only can you walk and bus and carpool, now you can rent a car by the hour when you need that personal discretionary transportation. So we thought adding car share to that suite of options was a great opportunity for students, staff, and faculty to take advantage of that and be able to leave their car at home.
We have some people starting to use them yet? They're just going online with the registrations.
We have a Zipcar. Zipcar's a brand new program right here launching today at East Lansing.
We're excited to announce Michigan State University's partnership with the car sharing company Zipcar.
So this right here is named Irvin, appropriately named after our Michigan State friend, Mr. Magic Johnson.
We're trying to encourage people to think more consciously about their transportation choices. So if you're able to leave your car at home and take the bus to work or bike into work, you do have another option here for an emergency or a quick meeting downtown, something that you wouldn't be able to otherwise get.
And they want to be able to get off of campus, go explore East Lansing, go explore Los Angeles, wherever it is. So this program allows students to have the flexibility of having a car without owning a car.
This idea came up from a student survey. There was some interest requested from that. People said, hey, we want to be able to use a personal car at times.
Literally a brand new car with 141 miles on it. You go online, you go and you register. Once you register, an email will be sent to the university saying, is this student, faculty, staff somehow affiliated with the university?
Looked into different car share companies and decided that this was the way to go for campus.
Well, not only is it convenient, but it's economical. Our average member tells us they save at minimum $500 a month versus car ownership.
There is interest in expanding it to both East Lansing and Lansing. So the idea is to test it out here at MSU, see how it's working, and then hopefully those living in the surrounding areas will get cars in those cities also, be able to use those.
From a sustainability perspective, we help to take cars off the road. So studies have shown time and time again that every one Zipcar takes 15 personally owned cars off the road. So on a campus like this that's so green and so walkable, having the ability to have less cars in the area is a good thing.
Exactly. This is another way to be Spartan green.
That's it. For more on the show, head to our website or follow us on Facebook. I'm Jim Peck. I'll see you next time.
The preceding program was produced by Michigan State University in association with the Big